Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the University of Georgia, I have the pleasure of welcoming you to the 2012 Summer Commencement exercises. We'd like to ask you please to remain standing for the presentation of the American and Georgia flags, to be followed by our national anthem. The colors will be presented this morning by cadets from the University of Georgia Air Force ROTC unit, and the national anthem will be led by Dr. Stephanie Tingler, who is the Associate Professor in the Hugh Hudson School of Music. Following the national anthem, please remain standing for the invocation to be delivered by the Reverend Daniel B. Brown, who is chaplain of the Episcopal Center of the University of Georgia.
We're gathered here, and to make our gathering proper, we must give thanks. We give thanks for the air we breathe, and in breathing share in the spirit of all living things. For the rain and the water we drink, and in drinking are joined to the very beginnings of life. For the light we see, and in seeing know and are known. For the earth, this fragile earth, our island home, where we live and move and have our being. We give thanks for the generations before us, for this generation around us, for the generations who will follow us. We give thanks for bestowed on them is a wisdom that is awesome. It protects and astounds us. An imagination that is powerful, it excites and moves us. A hope that is everlasting, it inspires us and does not disappoint us. A love that is transcendent, it nurtures us and embraces us. A calling to sacrifice that is holy, it honors us and sets us free. We give thanks and pray in celebration for our colleagues, for our professors, for our regents, administrators, and staff, for our family and friends, for taxpayers and lottery players, for those who have supported us in our studies. We pray in celebration, and we sing a new song for classrooms and labs with their loud boiling test tubes, for athletes and bands and crowds of cheering people. We sing a new song, but it is not only we who sing. Our hymn is joined to the praises heard in the hum of background radiation as old as the universe, the buzz of insects skipping from plant to plant, the whir of hard drives backing up our data, the squeak of sneakers on a gymnasium floor, the honk and grind of game day traffic, the shouts and applause of a stadium in victory, the very words spoken from this podium today. We sing a new song, we pray in celebration, and we give thanks. Amen.
You may be seated. I want to thank Reverend Brown. I want to thank my friend and colleague, Dr. Stephanie Tingler, who always does such a wonderful job in leading us through the songs that we sing here, and especially thanks this morning to the University of Georgia Air Force ROTC unit. The University of Georgia Wind Symphony provided this morning's music, as they will, for our recessional. I also need to remind you at this time, if you haven't already, if you would kindly turn off any cell phones or iPads or iPods or heart monitors or whatever's appropriate. We want to focus on these young people who have reached this level of accomplishment this morning, and would ask for your cooperation in that regard. Also, throughout the arena this morning, there are young people in the black blazers of the Arch Society, as well as uniformed University of Georgia Public Safety people. They are available to assist you in the event of any medical need or other type of need that you might have during the ceremony. For 227 years now, this has been the designated citadel of learning, the flagship for the state of Georgia. Young people have come here in an almost uninterrupted pattern during that time, seeking education and maturity in every field of human endeavor, and going forth from this place, even as we have seen this week in the Olympics with University of Georgia grads, for success literally around the world in every field of endeavor. Today we have all come together for a very special occasion to mark a signal accomplishment of the people who are arrayed in front of me and you, as they are this morning the recipients of a University of Georgia degree. Those of you who graduate today do so because you have worked with great diligence and with great dedication to help you reach this moment. And I want to be the first of many today to say to you how proud all of us at UGA are of you, and how well our wishes are for those of you who will be leaving us to enter other fields of endeavor. Those of you who have come today as undergrads or master's students or doctoral or professional students have been admitted to the University of Georgia because you had accomplished much even before you came to us. You were among the high achievers. You were near the top of your class. You were the leaders in your school. You were serious about academic pursuits. You recommended and also was a part of some of the best high schoolers in the state, some of the best graduates of the finest universities in the country to come here for graduate and professional school. And for those of you who leave us this morning, you will in many ways take the academic reputation of this place with you. You are not simply, we believe, though, someone who is the holder of a degree. You become this morning, many of you for the second or third time, a graduate of the University of Georgia, America's first publicly chartered state university, founded by a group of pioneers, largely from Yale and Connecticut in 1785, who believed that education needed to be not just for the wealthy or for the elite, but that there needed to be public education accessible to all, and the great public universities of this nation now educate about 82% of America's college graduates. Those of you who graduate this morning have grown into a role and responsibility that you will now hold for life. You become one of the best 2% of all those in the world as far as education is concerned. And we believe with that comes the responsibility for you to go forth and be successful and to give back. Among your graduates this year have been recipients of Rhodes Scholarships and Truman Scholarships and Goldwater Fellowships and NSF grants and NIH grants and academic accomplishments across the board. While there's much in the press today about the shortcomings of American higher education, and while all of us can still do much better, I submit to those of you in the graduate that these are young people who are qualified to compete with young people from anywhere in the world, be it China or India or Germany or England or Brazil or whatever the competition might present. Your connection to and your love for this place going forward, we believe, as was expressed by the prayer this morning, is not quantifiable. It's not just composed of the remote rankings and other accolades that you and others have received. Your connection to Georgia on this summer day calls to mind your times in the great research labs of this place, or a lazy afternoon throwing frisbee on the North Campus, laughter on a late night in Creswell or Myers, or perhaps spending that late night writing the master's thesis or doctoral dissertation or the last term paper. Your connection to this place is a lifelong one, built and girded in relationships that you have built with faculty, with academic advisors, with people in student affairs, with the graduate school staff and advisors, and most of all, with the friends and colleagues in your respective fields who will be friends for life. We are very proud of you. We are proud of what you have accomplished. Before today is over, you will become an important part of the University of Georgia Alumni Association, and we're honored to have with us this morning, from whom you will hear a little bit later, the National Alumni President, Federal Judge Steve Jones. This is most importantly, though, an academic ceremony, and it's appropriate that we begin by recognizing those who have excelled academically. I would like to call on the provost of the university, Jerry Moorhead, the senior vice president for academic affairs, who will come and recognize this morning's first honor graduate. Provost Moorhead.
Thank you, President Adams. It's my privilege to present the summer semester graduate who has maintained a perfect 4.0 cumulative grade point average in all of her work attempted at the University of Georgia. She is seated on the front row immediately in front of the stage, and at this time I would ask first honor graduate Joy Ellen Ashley Freeman to stand as we recognize her. Joy Ellen is graduating with a bachelor's degree in English. We commend her for her outstanding achievement, and we wish her well. Joining Joy Ellen today are members of her family and friends who have provided support and guidance to her, and I would ask them to stand that we may also recognize them.
I also want you to know that Joy Ellen is a proud graduate of Milton High School, and don't let anybody tell you that the public and private high schools in this state can't produce young people who can compete with young people everywhere. Joellen, we're very proud of you and proud of your family who's come to celebrate this day with us. I now have the distinct pleasure of introducing to you this morning's keynote speaker and a very dear personal friend of mine, the Honorable Pat Mitchell. Pat has been president and CEO of the Paley Center for Media in New York since March of 2006. She is, as we often say, a double dog, earning bachelor's and master's degrees from UGA in English in 1965 and 1967. Pat is one like you who has gone forth and made her alma mater proud. She has used her degrees as a foundation for a career dedicated to improving access to information for people around the world. She has been particularly insightful as for the use and impact of new media, and the Paley Center is a global leader in harnessing its power in discussions about the cultural, creative, and social significance of television, radio, and other emerging platforms. Her career in media began when she was recruited originally by Look magazine. Not long afterwards, she took her first story to WNBC in New York, and during the next 3 decades, Pat juggled working for 3 broadcast networks and several cable channels, winning national acclaim both in front of and behind the camera as a reporter, news anchor, talk show host, White House, and special correspondent and executive. In the mid-1980s, she established her own independent production company that produced documentaries, series, and specials for broadcast and national syndication. She became the first woman to nationally syndicate her own show, the Emmy Award-winning Woman to Woman, which she also hosted. Many of us in this part of the country know of Pat's close relationship with Ted Turner and Turner's media empire. In 1992, she was named executive in charge of original productions for all of Ted Turner's cable networks. And during the next 8 years, she served as executive producer with documentaries and specials receiving 37 Emmy Awards, 5 Peabody Awards, and 2 Academy Award nominations. In 2000, she was named president and CEO of the Public Broadcasting System. She was the first woman and the first producer and journalist to hold that position. Her awards include membership in the 2008 Broadcasting and Cable Hall of Fame, a listing among Hollywood's most powerful women in entertainment. And recently she was recognized by the Center for the Advancement of Women for her accomplishments and contributions in the world of communications. She is also known for her humanitarian efforts. She has supported groups like the Council on Foreign Relations, the International Women's Forum. She was vice chair of the Sundance Institute Board and was a founding member of former Russian President Mikhail Gorbachev's Global Environmental Organization, and she played a role in bringing Mr. Gorbachev to campus here several years ago. She's an accomplished business person, someone that I'm proud and Mary's proud to call as a friend, and to those of you who are here this morning, she is a very devoted, great bulldog. Join me in welcoming Pat Mitchell.
Good morning. It's great to be here to share this special day with you. And I want to begin with a confession. I love parades. In fact, I'm something of a parade addict. I love the marching, the music, the meaning of parades. In fact, I'm planning to title my autobiography, if I ever get around to writing one, I Never Missed a Parade, except one. my own commencement parade. I was just a few blocks from here having a baby instead. And that began a long, lifelong parade of seeking balance between work and motherhood. Now, I suspect parades are not the subject you expected today. Media would have been more predictable, given the career that President Adams so generously described, and thank you for the invitation to be here, Mike. Media would have been more predictable, and perhaps you're thinking, why parades? Well, I want to explain why I love parades and why I think they are a commencement-worthy subject. My parade addiction began early, about 100 miles southeast of here, in a small town called Swainsboro, Georgia. The most exciting thing that happened there was the annual Pine Tree Festival Parade. Once a year, all 5,000 residents would rush to the streets. Well, actually, it was one street. We would dress in our Sunday best, and we would cheer on the brightly decorated tractors being pulled by trailers, or trailers being pulled by tractors. It wasn't exactly the Macy's Day Parade. But the sights and sounds of that parade transformed my hometown and me. For the 20 or so minutes that it took for the parade to pass through town, I was somewhere else, imagining parades beyond the borders of my small town and beyond the expectations in place for a young girl growing up in the South in the 50s. But I followed many of those expectations. In fact, when I was 15, I entered one of the competitions to become Miss Pine Tree Festival and get to ride in the lead float. Being in the parade was a true thrill, and my parade addiction kicked in for sure. But when the parade came to a sudden stop due to a malfunction in the tractor that was pulling the Queen's float, I fell forward on my face in front of the whole town, total humiliation instead of the waving and smiling of moments before. Well, within minutes, the tractor and I both recovered. The parade continued. And later, I was trying to regain my enthusiasm about parades when my beloved Cherokee grandmother, who had a very special way of phrasing things, said, "Honey, falling on your face is at least a forward movement." Well, now that new perspective on parades, which always move forward, and falling on my face has had great meaning in my life. In my journey from that small town to now, when I have stumbled or lost my balance, when I have competed and didn't win, when an idea of mine was rejected, and when I was unemployed and broke, I think of my grandmother's words, and she was right. Every time the fall, the risk, the disappointment, the failure moved me forward in my life's journey. One of the most important places in that journey was here at UGA, where I enrolled as a scholarship student in 1961, defying my father's wishes that I go to a small women's college. My father, who also loved parades, had been in the military and made his living after the war selling televisions, but he refused to let his own family have one. Bad influence, he would say, when I would beg to have one in our own house. Years later, when I was making a very good living as a television reporter, my father's comment was, "All that big university education for this? What a waste." Well, my time at this big university was not a waste. It was transformative in so many ways. My class came of age here during two great social justice movements: civil rights for African Americans and full equality for women. Now, your class is coming of political age in a world of social media revolutions, ignited by technologies that can topple governments, crowdsource protest, and make or break a reputation in a 130-character tweet. However they begin or end, all revolutions begin with an idea and a purpose. Now, I came here all those many years ago with a lot of big ideas about what I wanted for my life, but very little purpose beyond my own career path and life's dreams. But I left here prepared to pursue those dreams and transformed by a new sense of purpose about ensuring and defending that right for everyone. It began when I met Charlene Hunter Gault, one of the first African-American students admitted to UGA. It's hard to imagine now what greeted her presence here then. Parades of students throwing rocks and insults. One morning I decided to join a small parade of friends and supporters walking Charlene to class. I felt fear as we navigated through the protesters. But I also felt a new sense of power that came from the collective action, however small, of that parade. This was my first parade with purpose. In this case, the purpose was to protect Charlene and to show our support for her being here. Ironically, 30 years later, Charlene and I reconnected in Washington. She was working for PBS NewsHour, and I was the PBS president. We talked about how much had changed and how much hadn't. She was, at that time, still daring to be on the front lines of change and was still dodging rocks in her adopted home in South Africa. And I was navigating the challenges of being the first woman to lead PBS, because when you are the first woman, the first African American, the first of anything, there are challenges. And many of you will be the first at some point in your life. Even now, with all the enlightened changes in practice and policy, you will find yourself most likely doing something that no one like you, no one your gender, no one your color, no one speaking your language, no one from your place of birth has done before. And that will be your opportunity to join or lead a parade with purpose. Maybe your purpose will be to challenge a company's hiring or promotion policy, or advocate for more diversity in top management or in the corporate boardroom. Or maybe your purpose will be to shape new family policies so that mothers and fathers can pursue the work they love and still be the parents they want to be. Because when you are the first, you have an opportunity to redefine what a leader looks like and how power can be used. But first you have to acknowledge that you have power. And that's something harder when you're the first or the only or still one of the few. Not long ago, I invited a small group of women Google executives to join me at a conference, the Fortune's Most Powerful Women's Conference. They quickly agreed, but then explained to me, I won't be able to say I'm going to the Powerful Women's Conference because then my colleagues will think that I think I'm powerful. You are, I replied. You're an executive working at a media company that has changed the way the world communicates. What are you doing with that power? Doing something outside our own job responsibilities is a way of using power, of optimizing our spheres of influence, whether we're the corporate secretary or the CEO. I need to offer a word of caution. Using power to lead or even join a parade with purpose does come with consequences. It may not be popular. You could get identified as an agitator, an activist, not on the team. And parades with purpose always attract doubters and detractors, and you'll feel the pressure to stay on the sidelines, to be silent, to support the status quo in your company or even your country. It happens everywhere. I felt those pressures, and I've had to weigh the consequences to choose to participate, knowing that it could be risky, putting a job, a relationship, a reputation in jeopardy. I faced just such a dilemma right here when I was a faculty member at UGA. A big civil rights march was planned, and there was a court injunction against it. But believing as I did in the purpose of that parade, I decided, along with a few of my students, to join it. We were arrested. Well, more accurately, we were rounded up, put in a holding pen near the Clark County Jail, and later released. And as I was leaving, a red truck came careening into the parking lot, and a gentleman farmer jumped out and confronted me and said, "Are you the English teacher that led my son to break the law?" Yes, I had to acknowledge. I half expected a fist in my face, but instead he stuck out his hand and shook it hard and said, "Well, at least you got him to care about something enough to get off his..." You can fill in the rest. Joining or leading a parade with purpose, one that disrupts, one that advocates for new ideas, one that does redefine leadership and power, can also have unintended consequences. Participating in these parades can give you something increasingly hard to find in today's driven and economically competitive environment. It can give you true happiness. Yes, it seems that some very serious social scientist research done in very big and important universities has proven that engaging in activities that are outside our career paths and beyond our own self-interest can lead to greater levels of happiness. Participating and leading parades of purpose turn out to be good for you as well as others. Now, you may be thinking right now, these are all very nice feelings, but they're hardly high on your priority list. Your priority list is to get a good job and make enough income to pay back those loans that you did, to get the degrees that could put you in the leadership position in life's parades. There'll be time later on to think about such concepts as power, purpose, happiness. But if you miss so much, and you will, if you pass up the parades that take you somewhere you hadn't planned to go, and you'll miss the richness of a life lived fully if you don't participate as fully and as passionately as possible. Because not only will your parades bring about positive change for others, but they will, in fact, make you a happier, more fulfilled person. I believe this because it's been my experience. When I reflect on all those big titles and positions I've been fortunate enough to have, I know what made me happy. I feel very fortunate to be where I am now, leading a big conversation about media and how it is transforming our lives and our world. And yes, I have power, and I have a sphere of influence that I take as a responsibility as well as a privilege. I know that my decisions still as a woman leader and my choices as a media consumer have impact, so I want them to have purpose as well. So whatever career path you take, whatever job you find and enjoy, there will be these parades with purpose that I urge you to consider. Good causes, campaigns for change that need you. They need you and your education. They need your inventions, your discoveries, your art, and your music, your solutions to climate change, ethnic conflicts, water shortages, racial and religious tensions, and the ever-increasing violence against women and girls everywhere. These are all parades with purpose, looking for passionate participants and empowered leaders. That's you. Your life's parade begins here and now. Don't miss it. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. It's a special honor to have you with us today. I think everyone in the audience understands better now why you have been such a successful professional communicator throughout your career, and we're honored that you took the time this morning to come and to share this special message with us. Pat is here with her husband, Scott Seidel, also a great friend of the university, though his education at the North Avenue Trade School was not quite as complete. But Scott, you've cleaned up through the years. Would you stand and let us recognize you? We're honored to have you here as well. I want to introduce the vice presidents of the university who in their own operational areas have contributed much to your education. They're seated on stage, and I would like to ask them to stand and remain standing as each of them are introduced, and would ask you please to hold your applause until all have been introduced. You've already met Professor Jerry Moorhead, the Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Provost. Mr. Tim Burgess is the Senior Vice President for Finance and Administration. Mr. Tom Landrum is the Senior Vice President for External Affairs. Dr. Laura Jolly is the Vice President for Instruction. Dr. Jennifer Fromm is the Vice President for Public Service and Outreach. Dr. David Lee is the Vice President for Research. Dr. Rodney Bennett is the Vice President for Student Affairs. I have a hard job sometimes. Mr. Griff Doyle is the Vice President for Government Relations. Dr. Tom Jackson is the Vice President for Public Affairs. Dr. Tim Jester is the Vice President for Information Technology. Dr. Libby Morris is the Vice President and Vice Provost for Academic Affairs. Join me, please, in greeting these senior administrators. In addition to most of the deans who will be presented in a moment, let me recognize others on the platform who are not directly involved in today's ceremony, but whom we are honored to have with us. University means the coming together of all of the schools and colleges. We'd like to ask these people to stand and again, hold your applause until all have been recognized. Representing the School of Law today is the Associate Dean, Paul Kurtz. We have with us the Dean of the College of Pharmacy, Dr. Sven Uya. We have the Dean of the Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources, Dr. Michael Clutter. Fred Quinn, the head of the Department of Infectious Diseases, is representing the College of Veterinary Medicine. Dr. Maurice Daniels is Dean of the School of Social Work. Dr. Dan Natanichek is Dean of the College of Environment and Design. Dr. Barbara Schuster is the Campus Dean of the Georgia Health Sciences University, University of Georgia Medical Partnership. We're also honored to have with us this morning the Honorable Steve Jones, United States District Judge for the Northern District of Georgia, who is also President of the University of Georgia Alumni Association. Serving as Grand Marshal for today's ceremony is Dr. Scott Shamp, Chair of the University Council Executive Committee, and it's traditional for the Sheriff of Athens-Clarke County to participate in the UGA commencement, and I want to thank Sheriff Ira Edwards for being with us today. Join me, please, in thanking these platform guests. – We now come to the main event, the conferral upon you the degrees for which you have been recommended by the faculty and the deans of our schools and colleges. In conferring these degrees, the faculty, the deans, and I have every confidence that you will represent the University of Georgia with honor and that you will help assure the University of Georgia remains an institution in which the people of this state and nation can take confidence and be proud. We will first proceed with the conferral of the degrees in the following order. First, candidates for doctoral degrees. Second, candidates for specialists in education and masters. And third, candidates for bachelor's degrees. To present candidates for the graduate degrees, I will now call on Dr. Maureen Grasso, the Dean of the Graduate School, to assist in this particular ceremony.
Graduate education is at the heart of our university's mission to teach, to serve, and to inquire into the nature of things. For more than 100 years, the Graduate School has prepared the recipients of our graduate degrees for success and impact through their work. They are at the forefront of knowledge creation and discoveries that will drive the social, economic, and cultural competitiveness of Georgia and our nation in our global society. This semester, 163 candidates have qualified for doctoral degrees. President Adams, I am very pleased to present to you the candidates for the degrees of Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Education, Doctor of Musical Arts, and Doctor of Public Health. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia by the Board of Regents, I now confer on you the degrees Doctor of Philosophy, Doctor of Education, Doctor of Musical Arts, and Doctor of Public Health, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. In recognition of your high scholastic achievement, the ancient symbol of the hood will be placed upon your shoulders by your major professor or a representative of the graduate faculty this morning led by Dr. Harry Daly and Dr. Jeffrey Dean. The marshals will conduct you to the stage, and we would ask you to please come forward as your name is called by Dr. Frida Scott Giles. We ask the audience to not applaud individual graduates until we applaud them as a group, so that no one's name is covered up in the process. I would remind the audience that the candidates will not necessarily be called in alphabetical order. At this time, if the first two rows would proceed to the stadium, the other doctoral recipients might be seated.
Carrie Lee Fine, Doctor of Philosophy, Infectious Diseases, Major Professor Frederick David Quinn. Seamus Patrick Keeler, Doctor of Philosophy, Infectious Diseases, Major Professor Frederick David Quinn, David E. Schalnicht. Robin Lynn Edge, Doctor of Philosophy, Communication Sciences and Disorders, Major Professor Anne Catherine Marcotte. Cherry Abraham, Doctor of Philosophy, Entomology, Major Professor Susan K. Brahman. Jason Charles Austin, Doctor of Philosophy, Geology, Major Professor Paul A. Schroeder. Shailesh Gulabro Ambre, Doctor of Philosophy, Chemistry, Major Professor Gerardus Josephus Boons. Daniel Bloom, Doctor of Philosophy, Philosophy, Major Professor Edward Charles Halper. Joy Claire Bracewell, Doctor of Philosophy, English, Major Professor Tricia Ann Lutens. Sarah Marie Brockman, Doctor of Philosophy, Higher Education, Major Professor Sheila Slaughter, accompanied by Shannon Wilder. Erin Elizabeth Burns, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Joan Lynn Jackson. Hillary Germaine Harding, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Joan Lynn Jackson. Charles Philip Callahan Jr., Doctor of Philosophy, Pharmacy, Major Professor Shelley Hooks. Kristen Kimberly Sakala, Doctor of Philosophy, Forest Resources, Major Professor John Charles Mertz. Jen Jai, Doctor of Philosophy, Special Education, Major Professor Cynthia O. Vale. Lindsay Diane Peaster, Doctor of Philosophy, Special Education, Major Professor Cynthia O. Vale. Wendy Marie Dubner, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Administration and Policy, Major Professor Elizabeth DeBray Pilot, accompanied by Cynthia Vale. Lashunda Cherie Chambliss Bush, Doctor of Philosophy, Food Science, Major Professor Mark Andrew Harrison. Bunyan Chen, Doctor of Philosophy, Pharmacy, Major Professor Dexy Liu Michael Griffith Bartlett. Shungun Cho, Doctor of Philosophy, Horticulture, Major Professor Stanley John Kays, accompanied by Dr. Reuter. Michael Terry Martin Jr., Doctor of Philosophy, Horticulture, co-major professors Matthew R. Chappell, John M. Reuter. Wan Ji Cho, Doctor of Philosophy, Child and Family Development, Major Professor Denise Clark Lewis. Ramada Sikoko Sise, Doctor of Philosophy, Poultry Science, Major Professor Adam John Davis, accompanied by Brian Fairchild. Mira Demova. That's all I have. Oh. Doctor of Philosophy, Poultry Science, Major Professor Adam John Davis, accompanied by Brian Fairchild. Ji Young Lee, Doctor of Philosophy, Poultry Science, Major Professor Samuel Egir Agree, accompanied by Brian Fairchild. Tianise Latham, Doctor of Philosophy, Latham Davis, Doctor of Philosophy, Health Promotion and Behavior, Major Professor Jessica Legg Muhlenberg. Richard Wayne Christiana Jr., Doctor of Philosophy, Health Promotion and Behavior, Major Professor Marcia A. Davis. Deidre Ann Tiffy Seeley, Doctor of Philosophy, Health Promotion and Behavior, Major Professor Marcia A. Davis. Colin Keith Smith, Doctor of Public Health, Public Health, Major Professor Phaedra Schaffer Corso, accompanied by Marcia Davis. Cheatham Alagos Ekji, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Psychology, co-major professors Seok-Ho Kim and Alan S. Cohen. Sunbak Lee, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Psychology, co-major professors Seok-Ho Kim and Alan S. Cohen. Laura Marie Singletary, Presidential Fellows, Doctor of Philosophy, Mathematics Education, Major Professor Patricia S. Wilson. Nicholas Anton Cluster, Doctor of Philosophy, Mathematics Education, Major Professor Denise Ann Spangler. Soria Elizabeth Colomer, Doctor of Philosophy, Language and Literacy Education, Major Professor Linda Ann Harklaw. Charles Allen Lynn, Doctor of Philosophy, Language and Literacy Education, Major Professor Linda Ann Harklaw. Graham John Connolly, Doctor of Philosophy, Kinesiology, Major Professor Paul G. Shemp. Jason Blaine Cutshaw, Doctor of Philosophy, Forest Resources, Major Professor Walter Dale Green. Ryan Jason Kuyu, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Georgia B. Calhoun. Christina Lynn Wise, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Georgia B. Calhoun. Tiffany Atkins Howell, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Georgia B. Calhoun. Ashley Renee Kirk, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Brian A. Glazer and Dr. Georgia Calhoun. Benjamin Doherty Hensley Snyder, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Brian A. Glazer, accompanied by Georgia Calhoun. Dara Ann Williams, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Brian A. Glazer, accompanied by Georgia Calhoun. Pearl Shi Chang, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Brian A. Glazer, accompanied by Georgia Calhoun. Erin Camille Fears Flood, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Psychology, Major Professor Tarek C. Grantham. Aaron Schwartz Forehand, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Edward A. Delgado Romero. Eckhart Werther, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Edward A. Delgado Romero. Cassandra Lynette Govan, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Edward A. Delgado Romero. Delisha Markel Pittman, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Ezaminari M. Obasi, accompanied by Edward Delgado Romero. Carla Sutton Moore, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Rosemary Elaine Phelps, accompanied by Dr. Edward Delgado Romero. Jamie Lynn Richards, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Ezaminari M. Obasi, accompanied by Gail Spears. Rashada Nicole Walker, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling Psychology, Major Professor Linda Fry Campbell, accompanied by Gail Spears. Jennifer Carol Ellis, Doctor of Philosophy, Mathematics, Major Professor Joseph H. G. Fu. Wei Jing Lee, Doctor of Philosophy, Mathematics, Major Professor William A. Graham. Clinton Wayne Copeland, Doctor of Philosophy, Housing and Consumer Economics, Major Professor Swanakar Chatterjee. Michael Polnowski, Doctor of Philosophy, Housing and Consumer Economics, Major Professor Robert B. Nielsen. Robert William Gaines II, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Administration and Policy, Major Professor William G. Raga. Oksana Parillo, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Administration and Policy, Major Professor Sally J. Zepeda, accompanied by Bill Raga. Sidney E. Everhart, Doctor of Philosophy, Plant Pathology, Major Professor Harold W. Sherm. Christopher Brooks Goodman, Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration, Major Professor Deborah Ann Carroll. Frank Arthur Gartner, Jr., Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling and Student Personnel Services, Major Professor Diane L. Cooper. Stephanie Andre Kane, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling and Student Personnel Services, Major Professor Diane L. Cooper. Daniel Nathan Glassman, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling and Student Personnel Services, Major Professor Michelle Espino, accompanied by Corey Johnson. Mark Aaron Witzel, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling and Student Personnel Services, Major Professor Laura A. Dean. Lisa Eve Sperling, Doctor of Philosophy, Counseling and Student Personnel Services, Major Professor Marilee S. Dunn. David Carl Himmelfarb, Doctor of Philosophy, Anthropology, Major Professor J. Peter Brosius. Elizabeth Erin Gleason Freese, Doctor of Philosophy, Language and Literacy Education, Major Professor Donna E. Alverman. Christopher Michael Hansen, Doctor of Philosophy, Language and Literacy Education, Major Professor Jo Beth Allen. James Ryan Gregory, Doctor of Philosophy, English, Major Professor Elissa R. Henkin. Christine Michelle Laddick, Doctor of Philosophy, Marine Sciences, Major Professor Merrill Alber. Kong Feng, Doctor of Philosophy, Statistics, Co-Major Professors Lily Wang and Lynn Seymour. Jameson Lee Hayes, Doctor of Philosophy, Mass Communication, Major Professor Karen Whitehall King and Dr. Peggy Kreschel. Celine Silgi Hong, Doctor of Philosophy, Bioinformatics, Major Professor Ying Chu. Woo Suk Jang, Doctor of Philosophy, Geography, Major Professor Shibao Yao. Narendrababu Koliseti, Doctor of Philosophy, Pharmacy, Major Professor Brian S. Cummings. Jason Nicholas Mock, Doctor of Philosophy, Pharmacy, Major Professor Brian S. Cummings. Michelle Elizabeth Palmer, Doctor of Philosophy, Geography, Major Professor Stephen R. Holloway. Saili Kukde, Doctor of Philosophy, Biochemistry and Molecular Biology, Major Professor Walter K. Schmidt, Jr. Sherry Nicole Kersey, Doctor of Philosophy, Sociology, Major Professor Ronald L. Simons. Antoinette Marie Landor, Doctor of Philosophy, Child and Family Development, Major Professor Leslie Gordon Simmons. Carrie McLeod Larson, Doctor of Philosophy, Business Administration, Major Professor Richard Thomas Watson, accompanied by Daniel Feldman. Jason Wiley Matthews, Doctor of Philosophy, Business Education, Major Professor Jennifer J. Gaver. Rebecca Norden Landis, Presidential Fellows, Doctor of Philosophy, School Psychology, Major Professor Amy L. Reshley. Mary Esther Lutz, Doctor of Philosophy, Educational Psychology, Major Professor A. Michelle Lease. Melissa Ann Bright, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Ann Schaefer, Co-Professor Janet Frick. Rachel Hahn, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Ann Schaefer. Marnie Lee Jacob, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Cynthia M. Suve. Justin Bradley Knight, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Brett A. Clements, accompanied by Jennifer McDowell. Jiao Lu, Doctor of Philosophy, Pharmacy, Major Professor Timothy Edward Long. Jigu Lee, Doctor of Philosophy, Social Work, Major Professor Betsy Vonk. Yingwei Li, Doctor of Philosophy, Physics, Major Professor David Paul Landau, accompanied by Stephen Lewis. Thomas Edwin Lanier, Doctor of Philosophy, Physics, Major Professor William Michael Dennis. Leopold Matamba Misi, Doctor of Philosophy, Mathematics, Major Professor Mingjung Lai. Brian Sears Metz, Doctor of Philosophy, Ecology, Co-Major Professors Kurt A. Bowman, William A. Hopkins. LaShonda Candace Mims, Doctor of Philosophy, History, Major Professor James C. Cobb. Emmanuel Etam Nekongo, Doctor of Philosophy, Chemistry, Major Professor Vladimir Popik, accompanied by Jason Lachlan. Stephen Kyle Sontag, Doctor of Philosophy, Chemistry, Major Professor Jason John Lachlan. John Mark Newton, Doctor of Philosophy, Political Science, Co-Major Professors Susan Brody Hare, John A. Maltese. Jenna Lisa Oberstaller, Doctor of Philosophy, Genetics, Major Professor Jessica Kissinger. Anne Elizabeth O'Brien, Doctor of Philosophy, Kinesiology, Major Professor Ellen M. Evans. Christopher David O'Neill, Doctor of Philosophy, Statistics, Co-Major Professors William McCormick and Lynn Seymour. Karen Leslie Owen, Doctor of Philosophy, Political Science, Major Professor Charles Spencer Bullock III. Yarborough T. Tamia Peoples, Doctor of Philosophy, Higher Education, Major Professor Libby Vassar Morris. Lauren Alana Siebert Hatowski, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Amos Zeichner. Colleen Allison Sloan, Doctor of Philosophy, Psychology, Major Professor Amos Zeichner. Jason Wayne Whitney, Doctor of Philosophy, Forest Resources, Major Professor Gary T. Green. Carrie Lynn Ross, Doctor of Philosophy, Animal and Dairy Science, Co-Major Professors Mark Allen Freuchel and K.C. Das. Centris Jerusha Thomas, Doctor of Philosophy, Kinesiology, Major Professor Thomas A. Baker. Jessica Lynn Van Cleve, Doctor of Philosophy, Language and Literacy Education, Major Professor Elizabeth Adams St. Pierre. Jacqueline Michelle Wetherington, Doctor of Philosophy, School Psychology, Co-Major Professors A. Michelle Lease and Pamela Orpinas. Donald Walter Wood, Doctor of Philosophy, Romance Languages, Major Professor Noel Fallows. Kenneth Dwayne Martin, Doctor of Philosophy, Romance Languages, Major Professor Luis A. Correa Diaz, accompanied by Dr. Noel Fallows. William Kyle Chipikoff, Doctor of Philosophy, Higher Education, Major Professor James C. Hearn, Jr. Tae-Sik Yun, Doctor of Philosophy, Public Administration, Major Professor Barry Bozeman, accompanied by Thomas Louth. Anita Francis Zigumbu, Doctor of Philosophy, Learning, Design, and Technology, Major Professor Ixion Choi. Jeffrey Scott Hall, Doctor of Education, Workforce Education, Major Professor Myra Womble. Deanna Marie Hilton Jackson, Doctor of Education, Workforce Education, Major Professor J. W. Rojewski. Yu Lu, Doctor of Education, Workforce Education, Major Professor J. W. Rojewski. David Scott Mitchell, Doctor of Musical Arts, Music, Major Professor Leonard V. Ball, Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, the summer doctoral class of 2012.
This semester, 571 candidates have qualified for master's and specialists in education degrees. President Adams, it is my pleasure to present to you candidates for master's degrees and for the specialists in education degrees. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the master's and the specialist degree for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. The candidates will be led to the stage by the marshals for individual recognition. We'd like to ask the first two rows to remain standing, and the rest of you might be seated.
The following graduates have earned the degree Specialist in Education: Ellen Caroline Christian, Sandra Elaine Bullard Long, Suzanne Marie Hare, Michelle Lynn Serban, Barbara Jane Fuller, Tanya Kennedy Grant, Carrie Ann Lee, Stephanie Rowan Benowitz, Heather Gale Spires, Valerie Hawkins Russell, Tiffany Simone Benton. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Arts: Tara Elise Gray, Sierra Michelle Lofton, Grace Taylor Johnson, Olivia Chelko Long, Kenita Franche Cobbins, Sebastian Burkholt, Sarah Catherine Comer, Steve Matthew Pertell, Mark Jeffrey Hamilton, William Lyles Smith, Artemis Alexandra Basilakos, Jessica Christine Tucker, Sarah Buchanan Irby, Amanda K. Smith, Minden Grace Whalen, Catherine Wells Robeson. Linary Marie Kingdon. Sarah Beth Puckett. Gloria Margaret Sullivan. Lawrence Floyd Jones, Jr. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Science: John Barrett Workman, Dallas Paul Grimes, Jeremiah Douglas Johnson, Nathaniel Lewis Herder, Madur Lamsal, Luis Moises Peña Levano, Danielle Alexis Zarate Rendon, Kishore Mahajan, Ganesh Suresh Bonde, Siva Venkadesh Ayapan Latha, Megan Elizabeth Dominic, Colin Gregory Couch, Pablo Alejandro Navia Gine, Shai Cheng, David Alexander Robinson, Alan Taylor III, Charles Dale Hollingsworth, Lauren Elise Badger, Courtney Mercer Still, Megan Nicole Allen, Erica Frances Bass, Alexis Rose Galambos, Hannah Lee Goff, Emily Nicole Wilson, Emily Megan Snow, Jared Todd Brizendine, Melissa Lynn Erickson, Leslie Arlie Gladney, Catherine Elizabeth Taruli, Jisoo Hong, Mary Catherine Cogran, April Nicole Keefe, Jia Chen, Yu Luo, Scarlett Louise Fuller, Mary Catherine Cruz, Callie Ann Riddenauer, Jennifer Lynn Munhofer, Haoming Lillian Fung, Melissa Michelle Miller, Sarabi Maheshwari, Priya Wadhwa, Hasib Youssef, Ishwar Rajaraman, Chaitanya Gutula, Asmita Raman, Singaram Sundar, Alok Ajit Damanaskar, Eliana Christina Moso Reyes. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Accountancy: William Edward Dupy, Frank Jackson Jones III, Lindsay Elizabeth Thomas, Ethan Jeffrey Troha. We have one graduate who has earned the degree Master of Agricultural Leadership: Richard Elbert Ledford, Jr. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Art Education, Amber Arnold. Christina Louise Curry. Laura Madeline Fleury. Catherine Marie Ingui. Dea Kunovats. Lauren Ashley Neesmith. Abby Quinn Newland. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Arts in Teaching: Heidi Foley Bartlett. Jessica Ann Holmes. Allison Marie McNeese. Darcy Lynette Pett. Lakeisha Marie Tate. Mary Lynn Wisniewski. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Biomanufacturing and Bioprocessing: Jack Barry Albanese, Jr. Mark Brian Cassilis. Leonard Allen Stewart, Jr. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Business Administration: Matthew Robert Erbizo. Wesley William Floyd. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Education: Catherine Elizabeth Anderson. Kevin Paul Carpenter. Laura Elizabeth Bragg. Natalie Frances Heyer. Kimberly Ann Albury. Brittany Lynn Bear. Chelsea Elizabeth Beatty. Meredith Catherine Hammock. Erica Marsh Buckner. Jamie Elizabeth Collins. Rebecca Elaine Lewis. Lauren Michelle Jennings. Rachel M. Brudney. Catherine Ann Balser. Erin Kristen Fry. Seth Eugene Brown. Victoria Dawn Cooper. Anne Martin Daney. Jacqueline Smith Brown. Tiara Bagby. Holly Angeline Hammack. Jennifer Janice Bell. Adam Joseph Heidenreich. Michael David Cabe. Robin Flynn Harris. Julie Irene Riggs. Christy Garrett Sutton. Carlos Alberto Mesa. Hui Yu. Cassandra Renee Shockley. Elizabeth Selma Gore. Heather Marie Tucker. Catherine Marie Perry. Tracy Elizabeth Rains. Carla Joyce Top. Jennifer Denise Winkle. Carol Ann Shapiro. Stephanie Lene Stansky. Megan Kathleen Sloniker. Jessica Ann Nelson. Brianna Jerry Weems. Donna Helwig Rocker. Christopher Thomas Moore. Terry Lynn Uno, Nicole Michelle Newton, Samuel Leroy Shelton Jr., Matthew Jeremy Seabolt, Brian Michael Shepard, Tara Nicole Marshall, Joanna Ray Beck, Elizabeth Shea Richardson, Melissa Palmer Solomon. We have one graduate who has earned the degree Master of Environmental Planning and Design, Philip Joel Berry. We have one graduate who has earned the degree Master of Food Technology, Marshall Leland Wilson Howard. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Music Education, Marcus Dwayne Chester, David Lewis Fairchild, Christine Elizabeth Poberski, Robert Anthony Smith, Christopher Ryan Bird, Laura Burgess Martin, Scott Lynn Martin, Jonathan David Williams, Mihaela Gergel. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Natural Resources, Christine Elizabeth Fox, Patricia Godwin Dunlevy, Rachel Diane Mahan. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Public Administration, Frederick James Johnson, Elizabeth Maureen Sassler, Joshua Patrick Crawford, Chao Zhang. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Public Health, Stephen Alden Magruder, Laura Catherine Weiss, Sarah Elizabeth Shellnut, Catherine Elizabeth Hope, Justin Van Griffin. The following graduates have earned the degree Master of Social Work, Danielle Shanae Alexis Blyden, Tamara Louise Stewart, Jody Ann Monique Kentish, Christine Elizabeth Campbell, Jennifer Crystal Travis Scott, Ruth Caroline Woodall, Sarah Helen Whitmire, Kristen Michelle Del Toro, Elizabeth C. Butler, Rachel Nicole Josephson, Jonathan Maurice Duncan, and Kendra Dixon Cook.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Masters and Specialist Summer Class of 2012. Congratulations. This time we will move for the conferral of the bachelor's degrees by school and college. I would like to ask Provost Moorhead to come forward to introduce the deans who will present the candidates for degrees.
The Franklin College of Arts and Sciences, which was founded in 1801, is the university's oldest college. Dean Alan Dorsey will present candidates for degrees.
The arts and sciences are the foundation of higher education. Named for Benjamin Franklin when classes began in 1801, the Franklin College of Arts and Sciences instills in its students an adventurous spirit of inquiry, love of learning, the ideals of community and global citizenship, and the values of hard work and service to others that are the hallmarks of its namesake. Its faculty are among the best in the nation. Its graduates may take special pride in the quality of their preparation for lives of fulfillment in a world that needs their services. The faculty and I are confident that the Franklin College has provided these graduates with skills, knowledge, and sensibilities that will empower them to make meaningful contributions to our society. President Adams, with pride and delight, the faculty of the Franklin College and I present the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Will these candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia by the Board of Regents, I now confer on you the appropriate degree, Bachelor of Arts, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Fine Arts, Bachelor of Music, and Bachelor of Science in Chemistry, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences was founded in 1859. Associate Dean Joseph Broder will present candidates for degrees.
The agricultural and environmental sciences comprise a dynamic field of importance to Georgia's future. Our college is dedicated to the continued success and sustainability of Georgia agriculture, to the protection of the environment, and to the assurance of a safe, abundant, and affordable food supply. Our students are prepared to compete in a complex and demanding job market, to recognize the global importance of agricultural and environmental sciences, and to contribute to Georgia's economic prosperity and quality of life. President Adams, I have the honor on behalf of the faculty of the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences to present to you the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Biological Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Environmental Sciences, and Bachelor of Science in Applied Biotechnology. Will these candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, Bachelor of Science in Agricultural Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Biological Engineering, Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science, and Bachelor of Science in Applied Biotechnology, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The College of Education was founded in 1908. Associate Dean James Marshall will present candidates for degrees in education.
The College of Education is the largest nationally ranked education college in the country, with over 200 faculty offering more than 50 degree programs. Our elementary early childhood program is ranked 4th in the nation, and our secondary education programs are ranked 5th nationally. Our degree programs include not only teacher education, but also such diverse majors as adult education, school psychology, counseling, exercise science, instructional technology, communication sciences and disorders, just to name a few. The graduates of the College of Education will be engaged in activities vital to the well-being of all Americans. President Adams, the faculty and I proudly present to you the candidates for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Education. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia by the University System Board of Regents, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Science in Education, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The C. Herman and Mary Virginia Terry College of Business was founded 100 years ago in 1912, with the J.M. Tull School of Accounting established in 1977. Dean Robert Summercrest will present candidates for degrees.
Today's graduates from Terry embody the best qualities of 21st century leaders. They possess the management skills, analytic techniques, and ethical standards to be successful in the global economy. Many have also demonstrated enthusiasm for volunteer work. The young men and women who graduate from Terry today are prepared to be leaders of their organizations and also leaders of their communities. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty of the Terry College of Business, I have the honor to present to you candidates for the degree Bachelors of Business Administration. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Business Administration, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The Henry W. Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication was founded in 1915. Dean Cully Clark will present the candidates for degrees.
The Henry W. Grady College of Journalism and Mass Communication is both a tradition and a trust. Founded by the legendary Stedman Sanford and named for the New South's chief publicist and journalist, the college prepares democracy's next generation to protect our freedoms through responsible and effective representation of ideas, issues, institutions, and individuals. Our graduates understand both the power of media to influence social change and the obligation to exercise that power responsibly. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty, it gives me great pleasure to present the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Arts in Journalism. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Arts in Journalism, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The College of Family and Consumer Sciences was founded in 1933. Dean Linda Fox will present the candidates for degrees.
The College of Family and Consumer Sciences prepares its students to work professionally with individuals and families to gain an optimum quality of life. The knowledge and skills that they acquire equip them to serve and preserve our most important social institutions, families, and communities by the application of their expertise. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Family and Consumer Sciences, I take pleasure in presenting to you the candidates for the degree Bachelor of Science in Family and Consumer Sciences. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Science in Family and Consumer Science, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The School of Public and International Affairs was established in 2001. Dean Thomas Louth will present candidates for degrees.
Leadership, responsible citizenship, and service to others are hallmarks of a democratic society. Graduates of the School of Public and International Affairs are prepared for leadership, good citizenship, and public service in Georgia, the nation, and the world. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty of the School of Public and International Affairs, it is my honor to present to you candidates for the Bachelor of Arts in International Affairs and the Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia by the Board of Regents, I now confer on you the degrees Bachelor of Arts in International Affairs and Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, for which you have been recommended by your dean and your faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The College of Public Health was founded in 2005. Dean Philip Williams will present candidates for degrees.
The College of Public Health carries out its mission through interdisciplinary efforts that address the physical, mental, and environmental health concerns of populations at risk for disease and injury. The college educates health professionals who are committed to protecting human health through teaching, research, and public service. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Public Health, I am pleased to present the candidates for the degrees of Bachelor of Science in Environmental Health and Bachelor of Science in Health Promotion. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degrees Bachelor of Science in Environmental Health and Bachelor of Science in Health Promotion, for which you have been recommended by your dean and faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated.
The Eugene P. Odom School of Ecology was established in 2007. Dean John Gittleman will present candidates for degrees.
Environmental issues are defining this century. Where, when, and how are new diseases emerging? Which species will go extinct and why? What impacts will global climate change have on the economics and welfare of future generations? These are tough questions. They're made now all the tougher by a massive human population and ecosystems that are shaped by human intervention. The Odom School of Ecology, the first and only standalone school in the country, offers one of the nation's top research programs in ecological sciences and adheres to Dr. Odom's principles of a holistic, interdisciplinary, teaching and research to prepare graduates for leadership in fields that are crucial for ensuring a future in which natural systems and the humans they include coexist on a more sustainable planet. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty of the Odom School, I'm very pleased to present the candidate for the degree of Bachelor of Science in Ecology. Will the candidate please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Ecology, for which you have been recommended by your dean and faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations.
The College of Engineering was founded on July 1 of this year, building upon the strengths of its forerunner, the Institute of the Faculty of Engineering. Dr. Dale Threadgill, founding dean of the college, will present the degree candidates.
Engineering is the science and art of integrating discoveries from multiple fields to create innovative technological solutions for continuous improvement in the quality of life. Engineering innovations, from the electric grid to airplanes to the internet, have profoundly changed human civilization in the last 100 years, and the promise for the future is even brighter. The University of Georgia has continuously granted degrees in engineering since its first civil engineering graduate in 1868. Today, the College of Engineering, established in 2012, is very proud to be the academic home of 8 undergraduate engineering degrees. President Adams, on behalf of the faculty of the College of Engineering, it is my honor to present the candidates for the degrees Bachelor of Science in Computer Systems Engineering and Bachelor of Science in Biological Engineering. Will the candidates please rise?
By the authority vested in me as President of the University of Georgia, I now confer on you the degree Bachelor of Science in Computer Sciences Engineering or Bachelor of Science in Biological Engineering, for which you have been recommended by your dean and faculty with all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities thereto appertaining. Congratulations. You may be seated. Ladies and gentlemen, the undergraduate summer class of 2012. The group of graduates that are here today assembled represent tangible and inspiring evidence of the wisdom and foresight of Abraham Baldwin, whose statue now resides on the North Campus, and those patriots who drafted the charter of the University of Georgia and thus began in 1785 the great American tradition of publicly sponsored higher education. You leave here today as the next generation of leaders for this state and nation. Some of you may enter public service. You will teach in our classrooms, serve in our military, lead philanthropic causes, be engaged in the worlds of business and law or medicine or ministry or wherever your chosen path might take you. Mr. Baldwin in 1785 in the charter called the youth of this state the rising hope of our land. You are indeed the rising hope of our land, and we wish you well as you go forward to lead. Before we leave, we want to particularly recognize some of those other than our first honor graduate in the undergraduate class who have excelled academically. To graduate today summa cum laude at the University of Georgia requires a 3.9 grade point average or better. This usually means 1 A- or B+ or 2 along the way. If you're graduating today summa cum laude, would you please stand and let us recognize you specifically? Here we go. Thank you. To graduate magna cum laude today requires a grade point average between 3.7 and 3.89. If you're graduating magna cum laude this morning, would you please stand and let us recognize you? Thank you. You may be seated. And to graduate cum laude today requires a grade point average of 3.5 to 3.69. If you're graduating cum laude this morning, would you please stand and let us recognize you as well? You may be seated. Now, to recognize and to welcome all of you into the University of Georgia Alumni Association, we're honored to have with us this morning the Honorable Steve Jones, federal judge of the Northern District of Georgia. On January 5th of 2011, Judge Jones was nominated by President Barack Obama to become a United States District Judge for the Northern District of Georgia, and on March the 4th, he was sworn in. He presides over cases that involve the United States government, the United States Constitution, federal laws, controversies between citizens of different states, and other matters. Prior to his nomination to the District Court, Judge Jones served as the Superior Court Judge in the Western Judicial District. He is a native Athenian and received both his undergraduate and law degrees from UGA. He has graciously and unselfishly given back to this community and university on many occasions, and it's a special honor to welcome the National Alumni President, the Honorable Steve Jones. Steve.
Thank you, Dr. Adams. It's truly an honor to be here with you, our distinguished speaker, Pat Mitchell, special guests, and especially these new graduates. Isn't it great to be a Georgia Bulldog? On behalf of the University of Georgia Alumni Association, I offer my sincerest congratulations to you upon reaching this important milestone in your life. I extend to you the best wishes for a successful and happy future. Whether you're receiving a graduate or undergraduate degree today, you are receiving a special degree, a University of Georgia degree, one which you've worked tireless for hours over several years to obtain. This is the day you step on a path filled with unlimited possibilities. Now, no one knows where this path may take you, but there's one thing for sure. UGA will ever be a part of your life. Our hope is that you will stay in touch with UGA. All Georgia graduates are members of the Alumni Association. Know that your Alumni Association is the best way to stay connected to the campus and to fellow alumni. UGA alumni chapters around the nation are ready to welcome you and make you a part and waiting for you to become a part of their programs. Your degree represents a superior education experience from one of America's greatest public institutions. Now, as you reflect on your favorite classes and professors, walks across this beautiful campus, friendships formed, and a lifetime of memories made, know that there are more than 275,000 living UGA alumni who share your love for this place. Their involvement has made the university into the top-tier institution that it is today. Now is your time to join the ranks to ensure the future successes of UGA and its graduates. It is now my pleasure to lead you in the time-honored tradition of turning your class ring. To those of you wearing your class ring, you're worn it until this day with the arch facing you. It is now time to turn your ring so that the arch faces outward, a symbol to the world that you are a person of excellence, an individual of integrity and leadership, a graduate of the University of Georgia. Wear your ring with pride. May your lives be filled with joy and success, and may you always be part of the University of Georgia as part of your life. Once again, I want to congratulate you, and Dr. Adams, where I stand, the future looks great. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, Judge Jones, and thanks to all of you who are members of the Alumni Association and some of these young people who graduate today do so on the basis of scholarship support that comes from that very important body. There are two particular groups that I want to recognize before we are dismissed this morning. You know by now from their participation that we have a faculty of exceptional quality, commitment, and ability at the University of Georgia. They have served you as teachers, as advisors, as mentors, as friends. If you're here today as a member of the University of Georgia faculty, as am I, would you please stand and let the graduates express to you their appreciation for what you have done for them. You may be seated. This is always a commencement that is very heavy on percentage of graduate degrees that are awarded given the normal academic cycles in which we live. Both at the undergraduate level and even more so, I believe, at the graduate level, all of you who have come to this point of prominence in your life have been supported along the way by important parents or spouses, in some cases children and others who have brought you to this point in life. If you're here today as a member of the immediate family or support group of one of these young people, would you stand at this time and let them express to you their appreciation for your support, which got us all here. Don't sit down. If you're not now seated, please stand. In just a moment, we will conclude this ceremony with the singing of the alma mater, to be followed by the playing of the recessional. For your safety and the safety of others, we would please request that you remain in your seats until the platform party and the faculty have completed the recessional and an announcement has been made that the ceremony is concluded. Like the Star-Spangled Banner, the alma mater will be led by Dr. Tingler. The words of the alma mater, for those of you in the audience, I hope the graduates know it, are printed on the last inside page of your program, and we will sing verses 1, 3, and 4. This concludes a very important ceremony for both the University of Georgia and an important day in your life. Once again, congratulations on all that you have accomplished to this point in life. We know that going forward that the world will expect uncommon things of you, for you're now a graduate of the University of Georgia. Congratulations, and let's all join in singing the alma mater. Stephanie?
Georgia's northland beams thy noble concludes the ceremony.
Congratulations, graduates. Go
Dogs!
Sing 'em! Hoo, 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 hoo.